Welcome to lunch, Whiz, the city's leaders. Thank you, Ben, for making me say that. And to be honest, I am not from Philadelphia, so someone actually had to explain what Whiz actually meant. But now I know. I'm Taz Larcade, the board president of Center City Business Association, and for 48 years, CCBA has brought people together around these leaders, businesses, relationships, and ideas that make Center City work. And that's exactly why we've created programs like this. There's a lot of places in Philadelphia where you can hear people speak. But we want to create the kinds of events where you can actually meet the people that are on the stage and the people building the companies, leading the institutions, and making the decisions that shape the future of Philadelphia every day. And often it's in a lot of ways that most of us don't even get to see up close. So because a lot of the real value starts there, doesn't it? A conversation, a new relationship, and a familiar face you get to see again in a few weeks. And we want people to feel comfortable walking into a room like this, not feel that you need to have already known everybody here to feel like you belong. And that's what really matters to us when we create these events. So yes, you are here to meet and hear from today's speakers, but just as importantly, you're here with people who care about Center City and where it's headed next. So we don't try to host the biggest events, we never will, but we do focus on creating the kinds of events where people actually get to have conversations and meet with each other. So to our members and our partners, thank you so much for continuing to show up for CCBA and for helping us make programs like this possible. And if this is your first time with us, and I've met a few of you, I hope you get a real sense of why people keep coming back. So if you're interested in getting more involved, please see our executive director, Ben Frank, or one of our board members here today. Just raise your hand when I call your name. Michael Adams, Joshua Cranmer, Andrew Lovell, Karen Seymour, Suzanne Spinell-Schuster, Christopher Larcade, Matt Skilton, and Tiffany Spraggins. So Lunch with the City Leaders is made possible by presenting sponsor Provident Bank and CBiz, Center City Film and Video, Comcast Business, Independence Blue Cross, IT Data, KYW News Radio, Mile 6, Obermeyer, PIDC, Philadelphia Business Journal, and Visit Philadelphia. Now to say a few words and introduce our speakers, please welcome CCBA board member and one of today's partners, Joshua Cranmer, president of Mile 6.
Royalty on this stage right now, it's really quite daunting, I'm not gonna lie. Thank you all for being here. We're gonna twist it this direction, and yes, I'm Joshua Cranmer, president of Mile 6. Mile 6 is a proud member and sponsor of the Center City Business Association. We're a digital product agency, which means we build websites and custom software and applications. If interested by any of those things, please come talk with me after our time today. But we're just gonna get right into introducing, which is in my honor, to introduce our moderator today. Colin Comstock produces Cheesesteak City, a multi-episode TV series highlighting Philly's legendary cheesesteak culture. That's over here. All right, from neighborhood staples to hidden gems, he's on a mission to showcase the craft, the people, and the passion behind every steak. Colin is a longtime CCBA member and video producer who started Arsenal Media Works in 2013. His production company would go on to become Astrobus Media. When he isn't producing, shooting, or editing, he enjoys spending time with his wife and daughters in the suburbs of Philadelphia and walking his rescue dog, Pretzel. Colin's biography and more information on each of our panelists is in the program we sent you earlier, so please join me in welcoming Colin Comstock and our cheesesteak whizzes.
This is cool. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here. I just want to share for the record, I don't know if the cameras are picking it up, but I am wearing shoes for this event. This is, you can tell this is definitely, I'm taking this seriously. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thanks to Ben and Megan from CCBA, Kate Stockton, all the logistics behind the scenes, great folks at City Winery, Sunset, helping with the sound. The whole goal of Cheesesteak City is to celebrate the diversity of cheesesteak shops in the city. And this panel is a really, really great example of how much the cheesesteak has grown and evolved over the years, but also very much stayed the same as well. And we kind of are looking at the cheesesteak as like a Trojan horse in our project as a way to talk about Philly, neighborhoods, families. So that's kind of our mission statement. As I say in our original promo video, there's never been a better time to be a person who likes to eat cheesesteaks. There are so many good options, and I think a lot of people spend their time trying to kind of parse out who's the best versus just enjoying them. So that's what we're here to do. So thank you guys for making time to be here. There was a program that's sent out, but just so we can like put faces to names real quick, I'll just go down the row here. John Bucci from John's Roast Pork. When we did a similar event back in 2019, we had the guy from Pat's and Genos, Tony Luke's, and one of the Q&A questions was, who's missing from this Mount Rushmore? And they universally agreed that this man was. So we are rectifying that situation. John Bucci, everybody. And though I shy away from speaking with certitudes, Del Rossi's is unquestionably one of the most beloved new school cheesesteaks in the city. Fresh bread baked on site that you can smell from down the street. Plus, it's operated by a brilliant businessman with extensive background in restaurants. It's almost unfair. Mr. Nish Patel, everybody. We have Pidor from Sahbyy Foods, creator of the infamous and delicious Cambodian lemongrass fusion cheesesteak. Perhaps even more importantly, an example and a leader in her community, initially with the Southeast Asian market, now with her first brick and mortar at Gather Food Hall. Pidor, everybody. Kevin Dolce, the co-owner of High Def Hospitality Group, owns multiple restaurants, is opening a new one. Just took a 5 a.m. flight this morning from Charlotte, opening a new cheesesteak joint down there. He also has a taco bar on the hippest street in town, South Street. But for the purpose of this panel, we're going to be talking to him about his Center City, multi-time Enquirer award-winning Taste Cheesesteak Bar. Kevin Dolce, everybody. Finally, Ken Silver. Jim's Steaks on South Street was languishing in obscurity until they got profiled on Cheesesteak City TV just a couple days ago. And now everyone knows about Jim's Steaks. So all kidding aside, the quintessential example of a cheesesteak shop that is so much more than a cheesesteak shop, right? It's completely embedded into the neighborhood, run by a cat with 9 lives. Mr. Ken Silver, everybody. All right, cool. We got the guys from Billy Penn and Water Ice here, so thanks for being here. I think Jesse Amoroso is here. Is Jesse Amoroso in the building? My man. 5th generation Amoroso Baking Company. Talk about legends. Got Carla from the Philadelphia Film Society. If you guys haven't seen what they did with the Old Prince Theater, you got to check that out. I just saw Summer of Soul there. It was unreal. So Carla from Philadelphia Film Society, check them out. And we got Astrobus Media. Mike Ballin, Sebastian Stewart are helping film this. Kylie from Chris Grant Photography. Thank you. Now that is out of the way. All right, so before we go too far, people might be wondering, why is there a roast pork guy on a cheesesteak panel? John's the 3rd generation owner of John's Roast Pork. Yes, they make a mean roast pork, but they also make an incredible cheesesteak, which he is the one in his family that really perfected. One of the first and most important decisions he made was picking the bread. He went with a seeded roll from Cranmer Baking Company, and in that moment, reshaped the cheesesteak universe as we know it. The true godfather of the modern new school cheesesteak right here. John, what can you tell us about adding a cheesesteak to a family roast pork business? And grab the mic whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Is this on? Yeah, okay. So, unfortunately, my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1987, and I was in my 3rd year at St. Joe's University with a psychology degree major, and studying to be, hopefully, a sports psychologist. My mom came to me and said, what would you like to do? Would you like to continue the family business, or would you like to continue your schooling? Now, I would have needed a lot more schooling. So I talked to my professors, and they was like, give it the cheesesteak, the pork place a chance, and see how it works out. Well, when I went there, my dad, God love him, God rest his soul, he made the worst cheesesteak. It was like 4 ounces of frozen meat. He would put it on the grill. He would cook it for a little bit, put 2 slices of cheese, and he would put it on a roll. and it was only 2.25, and he would sell maybe 8 to 10 pounds a week. So I said, Dad, we're gonna put 10 ounces of fresh cut meat, 12 ounces of fresh cut meat. We're gonna put 6, 7 slices of cheese, and we're gonna put it on a fresh roll. And I said, but we're gonna charge $6.75. That's 3 times as much. And he hit the roof. Like, the only bigger argument we had was when we started selling bottled water, okay? So he was like, why would you buy bottled water? It comes out of the spigot. Who would buy bottled water, So we started, and it took a while. It took 10 years, 11 years, and we were recognized by the Philadelphia Inquirer as having the quote-unquote ultimate cheesesteak by 4 high school kids. It was like a famous article. And it was before their time. It was before, like, the Food Network, and now there's lists all the time. But these boys, and they chose us, And Craig was kind of, like he said, I hope you ordered more bread, And I was like, wow, this guy's kind of full of himself. And this was in 2002. And sure enough, like, we had a line down the street for months, and our lives there were, never the same, So, that's the story of the cheesesteak and the roast pork business. Like, my old customers didn't even, for years, I'd be chopping cheesesteaks, and they're like, I didn't even know you sold cheesesteaks. And I was like, what do you think I was doing there, So.
One of my favorite anecdotes from the documentary is that John wins Craig Laban, and some kids from Lower Merion High School set out to find the ultimate cheesesteak, and they got Craig Laban involved, and they did extensive research. And then John wins. The guys in WIP are like, what are some kids from Lower Merion?
I was like, what do they know? Suburbanite kids.
And then John wins again.
They had their contest, and we won that.
John won again, 2001. Yeah, so
that was kind of gratifying.
Speaking of legends, on the far end here, we got Ken Silver, Jim's. They just celebrated 50 years on South Street. Congratulations. And they just hit 2 years since reopening a beautiful new version of their iconic steak shop after a fire. It was closed for almost 2 years. Ken, what are some of the key lessons you learned from that experience? And maybe more specifically, like, what did that experience confirm to you about the importance of steak shops and the way they're kind of knit into their communities and neighborhoods?
Well, the first thing I learned is if you think you have enough insurance, you don't. And that your insurance agent doesn't know anything about rebuilding a restaurant, or more specifically, a cheesesteak shop. It was very sobering when we closed that Friday afternoon in July. I came in at 9 o'clock. There was a little bit of smoke coming out of the back building, and I figured, well, they'll get to that and they'll put it out. We'll be closed for a couple of weeks. It burned for 24 hours, and the only thing we got to save was the shell of the building. So what I learned is when you're responsible for bringing almost 1 million people to a corner in a neighborhood and you're suddenly gone, the neighborhood suffers around you, for sure. Lots of places closed in the 2 years that we were closed, and it was really sobering. It was really sobering. The nightlife dropped off. It took Kevin to buy the corner of 3rd and South before we really start to see a true rebounding coming from the South Street corridor. But you really learn how ingrained you are with the neighborhood and how much the neighborhood misses you when you're not there. We put a countdown out before we reopened, and we started it at 15, and people were already starting to line up. Hey, well, I want to be first in line. And when we finally reopened on May 1st, we had a line back to Bainbridge Street. And they just wanted, to be part of the reopening. And that was probably the best feeling ever. Just knowing that we were important enough for people to wait for us to reopen. And when we reopened, and we were the busiest May we ever had. So I think you learn that you're more than just a cheesesteak shop. You're part of people's history and part of people's expectations when they're stopping there on the way to a Phillies game or a Flyers game, when they line up at 1 o'clock in the morning after a Thursday night Eagles game. They want you to be there. They expect you to be there. And with that expectation, That's why we reopened with over $2 million of our own money to bring it back, because my mom insisted that we stay on South Street, and so we did.
Glad you did. Yeah. Okay, so current events here. Now for the topic on everybody's mind, COVID-19. Just kidding. In all seriousness, COVID is one of those things I feel like I never want to talk about again, and I feel like we don't talk about it enough. We all had different ways of handling it. For my money, Bo Burnham and this guy, Nish, are the winners, the COVID winners. Nish completely pivoted his business model. What can you tell us about that experience, what you learned from that experience, and ended up with a better situation than you started with, man?
I bought the business, Del Rossi's, from Dave and Mike Frank on March 6, 2020. And 2 weeks before lockdowns, I've been in restaurants a long time. I knew how to run a restaurant, but I didn't know how to run a cheesesteak shop or a pizza shop. We bought the business because it was pretty successful before COVID. And as soon as we bought the place, 50% of the business fell off because offices and Social Security building across the street just closed and left for months on end. And, obviously I was facing a big loan that I had taken over. And also I had SaladWorks restaurants at the same time that were also struggling. So the only thing that I had on my mind was, how do we get people to leave their homes and drive from the suburbs or, South Philly, West Philly, to come to us as a tourist attraction. And, it took a year and a half to start pivoting and start learning how to make better pizzas. And that was the first pivot, was changing our pizza recipe from just a corner shop pizza to a more upscale, more...
Bangin', I think is what you're looking for. Bangin' pizza?
Yeah, crispier, yeah. Once we got really good at making pizza, the next pivot was starting to make our own bread, because that was a new hot thing to do. If you made your own bread, you were solidified in the city. So, that was another thing that we wanted to take on. And, we only had a team of 10 people when I bought Del Rossi's. Now 37 people work in the building in that little 2,500 square foot space. But yeah, it definitely opened my eyes. We needed to do better. And at the same time, I basically had to either close or give away my SaladWorks restaurants for next to nothing. And we had poured millions into opening them. So it was a lot of lessons learned. We had to pivot because we had to bring people to the business instead of just being a convenient little pizza shop that people went to. And, years of research and hard work eventually got noticed by a lot of people, and here we are, so.
Well, on the other side of the coin, speaking of newcomers to the cheesesteak game, we got Kevin and Patel. Patel, let's start with you. Let's talk about the way you've brought your family heritage, the cultural cuisine that you grew up with, and have been able to incorporate that into such a blue-blooded Philadelphian American sandwich, like a cheesesteak.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really honored to be amongst these guys. I'm the only woman up here, so it's pretty cool.
Thanks for being here.
Changing it up is what we're doing. If you imagine growing up in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, had no idea I was gonna wind up in Philadelphia at all. Growing up making krương, so we have the mortar and pestle and it's going buck. I'm putting ingredients in there, not in the right order. And knowing that krương is the staple of Cambodian cuisine, just marinating all of the meats and seasoning all the soups and doing all of this, a lot of the ingredients and the culture comes from my mom, my grandma, what they've learned, my sisters, and even my brothers and my dad, to be honest with you. They tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. I'm bringing that into this unintentionally cheesesteak was a big deal. And just to go back to what you were talking about with COVID, I started this because COVID laid me off from my job and I didn't know what I was gonna do. And my dad just passed away. It's like everything was just going in the wrong direction. But they say make lemonade out of lemons, right? So one of my friends had called me and said, Pidor, I know you're looking for something, but in the meantime, FDR Park, the Southeast Asian market, isn't formalized yet, and they're starting to formalize. Do you want to go in? They have a few more spots, but you have to tell us right away. And so I said, yes, I'll do it. I said, hold on a second. Let me ask my husband first, because he has to support me in the background. It's going to take money that I don't have. I just got laid off and everything. And he said, babe, go ahead and do it. I'll support you in the background. You've helped me in supporting my businesses. And we're going to be good. It's okay. It's just the weekend. You can look for a job in the meantime. So at the time, I didn't know what I was going to make at the Southeast Asian market, because I didn't want to do beef sticks, because beef sticks are really hard to make. Poking 1,000 to 10,000 beef sticks for a whole weekend is crazy. So I said I didn't want to do that. And the temple at Patel down in South Philadelphia, they invited us to go and sell food down there, and I couldn't sell I couldn't sell the beef sticks. So I decided to go back home so it wouldn't spoil, put everything back in the freezer. And I left to go talk to my mom, and my mom, I said, Mom, I'm so upset. I left Yen at home. He's gonna make his own food. I don't wanna cook anymore. I'm just done with it. And then he took the beef skewers, he took the bread that we had. I always have cheese in the house. His mom came to visit. She made the papaya salad. He put everything together. I said, this is it. This is what we're going to sell at the market. This is how we're gonna set ourselves apart from everybody else. I don't wanna compete with the aunties and uncles that are doing that. I don't wanna be out in the heat over a grill. That's not my thing. He said, well, now you have to learn how to make the papaya salad. Now we have to go find the right cheese to go with this, because this one's good, but it's not the best. Now we have to go find the bread, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to do this. So, we just went to the local market, the local store in our neighborhood, and we just got whatever we were able to get. And we're like, okay, let's give this a shot. Just so happens this one couple just from New York just moved into Philadelphia. It was their first time coming into the market, and I sold them the cheesesteak. And there it goes. They put it on social media, and it kind of just went there on its own. The market just opened up. That April, who was it? One of the social media guys came over, and he blew it all up too. My intention was to sell my pepper chips, but when they tasted the cheesesteak, I was like, okay, what can we do with this? And my husband said, nothing. We're just gonna sell it and let it grow from itself. And it's history from there.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
So good. If you guys haven't checked that out, now you're in Gather Food Hall as well. Yeah,
I am at Gather Food Hall, yes.
Kevin, your family your family background's from Haiti. You have bought a lot of that seasoning and stuff in a Cheesesteak Bar. Talk about your own way of bringing, a kind of modernizing the cheesesteak and making it part of your,
What's crazy is that Philadelphia brings a very traditional cheesesteak, and wanted to create something from my culture, my heritage, my background. We really had to dig deep in, trying to create something a bit more innovative that doesn't steer too far away from, your traditional cheesesteak, and having, everybody's very opinionated in Philadelphia. We are a very opinionated city, and I don't want to we didn't want to steer too far away from it. So what we did do is we tried to revolutionize it. So we created different variations of cheesesteaks, right? So of course we have your traditional beef cheesesteak. We incorporated a jerk chicken cheesesteak. We incorporated a salmon. We incorporated an oxtail, and we also did a veggie. And with every one of those cheesesteaks, what we did was we used my mother's recipe of Haitian marinade called ipis. It's a marinated blend. It's typically after it's all, our secret recipe. Typically after it's all made and blended up together, we incorporate that into our sauces, and we marinate every single one of our proteins that we have, which allows us to have that particular taste. And of course, everybody uses Cooper Sharp cheese. Everybody's going to the homemade bread, which is amazing, but we wanted to incorporate the seasoning in the meat, because that was really important for us, for everybody to get a different flavor in their mouth. What's gonna tantalize your palate the best? You know, going back to my Haitian roots and incorporating that seasoning, you know, it gives like, all right, I could go to my mom, and my mom, literally, I bought her a blender from Restaurant Depot and commercial blender, and we buy her everything from like Produce Junction, all of the veggies and the garlics and the green onions and everything. And she literally, 72-year-old woman, love her to death, is in the kitchen blending all of the ingredients for us so we can make it weekly and incorporate it into the cheesesteaks. And it, you know, just having, you know, my mother's touch, selling, you know, New Kid on the Block. We've been around for 2 years, going on 3 years, September 16th, and seeing it blow up the way that we did within Philadelphia's best gold for the past 3 years. Well, silver our first year, our first 4 months, and then gold the following 2 years was just, you know, it was iconic for us, you know, with being the New Kids on the Block, and, you know, just going back to the roots of the culture and incorporating that. And, you know, I'm a first generation. I was born in the U.S., but my parents were born in Haiti, and being able to utilize that marinade to change what is a traditional cheesesteak into something a bit more modern, it was amazing for us.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm so glad you
To
did.
share
Taste
that-
Cheesesteak Bar.
To
if you
share
guys.
that culture, that flavor, it's just not, you know, the steak and cheese anymore. It's everything else, and it's so colorful. Yeah. It's so colorful. It's like it pleases the eyes, it pleases the taste buds. It's us.
Yeah, it's us, and it gives, like, you know, a differentiator to what is so traditional to Philadelphia. You know, a lot of people as well, you know, not everybody can have a cheesesteak. Some people might have dietary restrictions where they're like, I'm not gonna eat red meat, I'm gonna eat chicken, or I don't eat chicken and beef. I wanna be, you know, I'm a pescatarian, so I'm only gonna eat fish. And, you know, hey, I don't even eat any of that, I just want a veggie. So now we got a portobello mushroom, cauliflower, Cooper Sharp cheese, and everything in there. And now you can have everything that you want at one location. So, you know, it was not only beneficial for the business, but beneficial for the city and everybody around us who has those dietary restrictions as well.
And again, just to be clear, whatever protein you choose is all marinated in the Ippies, so you're good to go no matter what you choose. Speaking of family, John and Ken, I'd love to hear from either of you guys, both of you guys, about how you've balanced honoring your family businesses, as well as the expectations of customers, while evolving a bit with the times.
Yeah, every time I make a change there, I have to like reach deep into the back of my mind and think, what would my father do? Because you walked in and somebody said you have chicken cheesesteak, and the whole counter would yell out, "Chicken!" You know, we sell cheesesteaks. Chicken isn't a steak. But this spring we launched chicken for the first time. We just had to. Cooper Sharp, we were Whiz, American, and Provolone, and we were always going to be Whiz, American, and Provolone.
I love Whiz, by the way.
Yeah, well, so do I. But now it's, you know, Cooper Sharp, and Cooper Sharp is second behind the Whiz now, the melted Cooper. They love it. So we've had to make changes along the way. We were never going to do DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of that kind of stuff, and we do. Because you have to. I think the hardest thing for me is the change, and the change or perish. I don't know if that's too strong, but I can tell you that if we're not doing these things, we'll be left behind. I don't know about a seated roll, Jesse, but there are certain things that I don't know if you guys know that we originally used lard to cook our cheesesteak in. And 15 years ago, when I took over, my brother and I got together and we said, you know, there's too many people that think they're having just steak, and, you know, there's pork in that sandwich, and we have to change. So now we're 100% beef tallow. We made the moves that felt that we had to do to come into what is now expected. And so you try to honor the traditions, but at the same time, you have to change.
That Cooper Sharp, it was so funny because I eventually had to, we don't do Cheese Whiz. It's just personal preference. I'm not a big fan of Cheese Whiz. So, but we did Cooper Sharp. I couldn't believe it. I went home, and it was on the news. It was on Channel 6 and on Channel 10 News. John's, where I was like, must have been a slow news day.
It's just Cheesesteak City, man.
Because cheesesteak, and it's weird. Like my dad, he would eat the roast pork with mustard and onions, and it's delicious. Like, and I couldn't believe it. And it's just a flavor, the combination of flavors that really works. And we never really had it on the menu, but the old timers knew. It was the old timers, And so now we've put it on the menu, and it's amazing how popular. And I have it as Dad's Way, pork Dad's Way. And now I work the register to give my wife a hand, and every time someone says, "Give me a Dad's Way," it brings a little tear to my eye. So it's kind of sweet. Now, like we used to never go through a lot of mustard, and now we're selling cases of mustard, so it's kind of funny. But we try to keep true to our roots. We close at 5 p.m. I know a lot of people hate that. We're not open on Sundays and Mondays. The problem is it's just my wife and I. We don't have any children. I have 2 nieces, but they have good jobs for the government. And so it's just one shift. But if we're open, my wife and I are there, and that's how I keep quality. It's not the greatest business model, but I'm very hands-on, and I micromanage, and I have to be there. I just have to be there. So, and I'm trying to figure out an exit strategy, but we're not there yet. So, thank you very much. This guy's going to help me. So.
And thanks for being here today. You'd be at the shop otherwise.
Listen, I'm so honored to be here. Yeah. You don't even know.
So cool.
It was the place, when I made the decision to leave school, the place, we never had women come. It was all blue collar workers. It isn't the place that it is now. It was just a truck. It was like Greasy Spoon, they used to call it. It was the Shack. It was the Pork Shack. We weren't going to name it the Shack, but there was a place in Jersey that was already called the Shack. So that's why we named it after my dad, John's Roast Pork. I'm not John. John was my dad. And it was his, in 4 years, we'll be around just as long as Pat's, 100 years. So it's kind of wild, And it just, my grandfather started at a wooden shack just selling roast pork and meatballs. And if it wasn't for my parents, I have mad respect for these guys who start their own business. What an amazing thing to do. I was lucky enough where something was handed to me, and it was just up to me to take it to the next level. But to start from scratch, I have mad respect for that. So God bless them, and kudos.
It's also not easy to take over a legendary family business and maintain and grow it, man. So yeah, give yourself some credit for that. Any conversation about keeping up with the times would be incomplete if we didn't mention the host body for the zeitgeist, social media. Nish, you alluded to it earlier. You benefited greatly from organic marketing, including Dave Portnoy coming by. Basically left him speechless. What can you tell us about the impact of social media on your business, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you want to share about that?
Mostly good for us. It's been a blessing to be in that position. I remember getting the call after Portnoy came, and I was just about to take a nap on my couch, and didn't take a nap for another 2 months after that. Before the video was even released, the word got out that we were on Portnoy's video, and he gave us a high score. We were selling out daily, and this is when we started making our own bread, 4 months into it. So it was logistically very challenging to scale up to those volumes, but everyone stepped up, and we hired more people, the right people, and we were able to build up to that. But yeah, we've had tremendous amounts of social media exposure, unsolicited most of the times. And we avoided paying any influencers to come there, and we want it to be authentic. So anyone that's reviewing our food, we haven't paid for it. It's pretty good to be in that position, but I can definitely see how it could turn on you if you do something wrong. So you just have to be careful. You have to do the right thing when you're put on that kind of pedestal. But yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest factors in any growth strategy for any business going forward, and we've benefited greatly from it.
It's incredible that you have people, I'm one of them, knocking on your door, looking to make free marketing content from you because you're such a great cheesesteak. We do not accept any money from cheesesteak shops. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's not the case on social media. This is a market that there's money exchanging hands all over the place. And when there's not money exchanging hands, sometimes the quality of the review changes or the tone of the review changes. So we don't participate in that at all. I don't have any judgment of anyone who does, you know what I mean? I think it's also part of a growth strategy that makes sense. But anyone want to share anything about just being held hostage by influencers or any kind of just anecdotes about what that market is like when you're trying to kind of navigate organic content, but also understanding sometimes you got to kind of, grease the wheels a little bit to get people to your shops? Or
I think, and I could speak on this a lot because I think I'm the millennial of the group here, and social media is a very both of us. Social media is a key factor with us, just at High Def and how we market the business. So our growth strategy is very, very important. Everything can be as organic as possible, but through TikTok, through Instagram, through Facebook, you have Gen Zs and Gen X and millennials who are just on social media. We used to be in an era of where newspaper, billboards, and radios used to run everything. But the publicity that all of us up here are getting now is through food influencers, through TikTok videos, through our social media teams that are helping us scale and grow day in and day out. Now, although we're also in an era of there's a lot of exchanging funds that are going through these different influencers, food influencers' hands, which can change the way that the critique of the actual food of the restaurants, it can be harmful, right? Because everybody's palate's different. Everybody's very opinionated. Some people like homemade bread. Some people like Amorosa. Some people like Licio. Some people like a harder bread, a toasted bread. Some people like their bread gutted. Some people like their bread soft. There's different variations of what people like, right? But social media also allows everybody's opinion to sort of change in a sense. Wow, I can go to Del Rossi's, and Del Rossi's has like a soft toasted bread, or I could go to Angelo's, and Angelo's bread is a bit harder. I could go to Jim's, and Jim's got Amorosas, or I could go to Taste, and they got Delicio, and I could get both a plain roll and a seeded roll, or I could go to John. It's different in the sense of how social media can really lead to it, because you'll have those influencers that come in, can shift a whole dynamic and a whole generation of, we're gonna go this route now. The homemade bread, I felt like it was a complete shift because it was on social media. Now it became we're gonna bake our own bread now. This is what works. This is what the Philly cheesesteak now modernized is. The sesame seeds in the roll and a nice crunch to it, and Cooper sharp cheese. Cooper sharp cheese came out of nowhere, by the way. I don't know where it came from. I came in the game, when I first came in the cheesesteak game, and I don't mean to ramble, I started off with Monster cheese and Cooper sharp cheese on a 3-foot grill. And we were serving pizza at the time, too. Cheesesteak Bar was serving pizzas and cheesesteaks at the time, but we were selling more cheesesteaks than pizzas, so we got rid of the pizza side of the business. But Cooper Sharp cheese wasn't even, it was Whiz, it was American, it was provolone. I don't know where Cooper Sharp came from, but after I had it, we knew it needed to be on a cheesesteak, and it just grew from there. Maybe social media
An
again,
army of paid influencers.
Yes, an army of
Big Cooper
Who did
Sharp
it
got
first?
involved, yeah.
For sure. But just to circle back on the dynamic of just the cultural sense of the social media influencers, you know, I feel like it's a gift and a curse for all of us, but it's been a blessing to all of us too, because all of our social media pages have grown. We've gotten a crazy amount of exposure on a local level and on a national level. So, you know, it can be super beneficial for us in that sense.
The gift and the curse, yin and the yang. Patel, you got your initial bump in a more traditional medium, a printed magazine, Philly Mag, right?
Philadelphia Mag.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Talk to us about that experience, and also I'd love just to hear more about how you really made a decision to kind of brand yourself as an entity, a thing, and that was an inspiration to other people in the Southeastern Asian market, right?
Yes. 2024, we got the Best of Philly out of nowhere. I didn't even know how that happened. And then 2025, they asked they were going to do the cheesesteak story in Philadelphia Magazine, and then reached out, and I was like, holy, what? Really? Where is this coming from? I didn't know that I had that kind of popularity. And when they put it on to the magazine, at first, the backstory was they were just going to do profile pictures. And I was like, okay. So when I was there taking the pictures, I asked my photographer. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna bring like the ingredients of the cheesesteak over here. So can you just take pictures of it and maybe submit it? Just because my cheesesteak looks different than anybody else's cheesesteak. It's colorful. It's vibrant. It's a very small sandwich, but they made it look so big. I was like, can you just try it? Can you just please submit it? Yeah. And the next day, the editor, he called me or texted me and said, I think we might do it in a different direction now. Let's do another photo shoot. Bring your cheesesteak. And I was like, oh man, this is great. And he's like, we don't have a cover yet. We might not use it. Let's see what happens. The next day I took 10 pounds of marinated meat and just went to the photographer's house. He was only five minutes walking distance from my house. So I was like, oh man, this is great. If I need something, I just go to my house and get it. So 8 hours later, it was just the three of us in his home making cheesesteaks for 8 hours. And the final shot, he's like, that's it. And that's what you see on the magazine. I get the magazine later on, and I'm like, dude, this guy's handsome. He's on the cover. He's on the centerfold with me, and I always said, I want to be on a centerfold.
There's some centerfolds
I got
up
it
here.
through this. I got it through this. And and from there, it kind of just opened up. It opened up for like Gather Food Hall. Branding just kind of did it organically, and how it helped being at the Southeast Asian market, I feel that the vendor members there, they kind of saw what I was doing, and in suit, they just started to brand, and I would go to each and every one of the vendors. I said, find the one thing or the two things that you're really, really good at, and just market that thing. Make a name for yourself. Let's identify who you are.
Yeah.
You're stepping out. Don't be in the shadows anymore. This is what we're doing. We're gonna move forward, and we're gonna be in the light now. So let's get all of us up to par, and let's create something that we can really sustain and be very proud of. I mean, this is a moment where we're stepping out and we're doing bigger things, and through my leadership, look what it's become.
Yeah.
It's
So cool.
become this.
I only asked half the
don't even know
questions
what
I
to
want to
say.
ask you guys. I have so much more I want to talk to you about, and I'm like literally halfway through. I didn't do a good job of moving this along, I guess, but I'm so grateful for you guys this time. We're going to do Q&A for a minute, and then we'll do a rapid fire thing. Make them good questions. I have really good questions I was going to ask, so don't ask any dumb questions, all right? All right, what do you got?
Hi, good day. I'm Michelle Snow. I'm known as the Coach Making Connections. And I do have a couple of restaurants that I support, which is Nourish Philly, as well as Rock and Roll's, the food truck. And both of them are seven-figure businesses, and they want to be giants like you one day. And so my question is around, show me the money. Outside of consumer sales, walk-in sales, and catering, what are some of your other lines of business in which you generate income?
We started during the COVID, Goldbelly, shipping nationwide. Goldbelly had contacted me via Facebook Messenger 4 or 5 times pre-COVID, and that's when we were letting customers in the building, so we didn't have the space to accommodate that. But when COVID hit, we were doing, 25% of the business. I called them and I was like, it might be a time now to try this. And it's been good. Like, we sell out. Like, we only do 30 orders a week, but it's expensive for the consumer. It is. It's like $30 a cheesesteak. And we sell our roast pork kit. We sell the pork that's in a bag, sliced in a bag. We give you the frozen gravy. We give you the rolls. We give you the cheese. And so you heat up the gravy, you put the meat in there, and then you make sandwiches. The cheesesteaks come assembled, and they're frozen. We make them. We wrap them. We spray the wrapper with Pam, and we wrap them up. They come with and without onions. And we sell all over the country. To Hawaii, we've sold this out. So that, and then like one of the people said, like DoorDash. Like, we never thought we would do DoorDash, but it became a necessity. So things like that. That was one.
Hi, my name is Tanti, and I work at Location 15. I just want to say, Pidor, you are my hero because you just show up there and just do it.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Who gives you the first early funding to start? Is it, because I saw my friend Ricky here, is it through PIDC, SBA, investors, family and friends? Because if I want to jump into food, and I told my husband, I said, I'm going to jump into food, he's going to kick me out of this country. I'll take the answer off the mic.
Who was my funder? To be honest, because I had lost my job, I intentionally decided not to go to the bank to get a loan. I decided not to get any loan from anybody. The only person that I went to for support was my husband. So it's my husband and I who grew this. With that said, as I went through the journey, the community really, really supported me through the social media. And I also worked very closely because of my position with the Southeast Asian market. I was able to work a lot with the revenue department and the commerce department, and I learned about different grants that were out there. And through my relationship with them, I was able to apply to get the grant with the Commerce Department, and this is how I was able to go into Gather Food Hall with their help and assistance. Gather Food Hall has been an incredible partner in my journey of self-sustaining myself, and I don't recommend anybody else doing what I do because it's really, really hard to do it alone in this way, but I have the community, financially, but with, Commerce and Revenue Department and just my family and my husband being able to support me, this is the decision that I do. And it's a slow growing. You guys are so much more successful than I am. I believe in terms of the finances, but this is brand new to me. I'm still growing. I'm still getting my name out there. It's not instant. I gotta tell you, it's not an instant journey. You're not just gonna get there. I'm still working on it every single day. But with people coming in and trying my food and getting to know what it is, that's just my organic way that I want to grow myself and my business, Thank you.
Thank you. So we're running out of time. So we have this little rapid fire thing. We're just going to go down the line. You can pass if you want. We'll start with John, and we'll flip it back and forth maybe, So Ken, you start the next one. So what is your go-to cheesesteak order? I'm going to go first. Prove, Whiz, without. John, go-to cheesesteak order? And the microphone.
Extra cheese and onions. Extra American cheese.
Cooper long hots and onions.
Yeah, Cooper long hots and onions and mushrooms.
Ooh, Cooper extra fried onions, mayo. Oh. I like it.
I got blushed a little bit.
Oh, I am so OG. Whiz, wit, extra whiz.
My man. All right, starting with Ken, coming this way. Favorite spot to grab a steak favorite spot to grab a steak besides your own spot? I didn't say best. I said favorite. It's different.
I can honestly say I have never ordered a cheesesteak from any other place in Philadelphia.
Amazing answer.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I can't honestly say that. I grew up in uptown Philadelphia, like Moormount area, so my go-to then was D'Alessandro's. Growing up, they had a really good cheesesteak back then, but now, living in the city, I've been going to Angelo's.
Right on.
Yeah, if I were to grab a cheesesteak, for sure.
I used to go to yours. I love it. I haven't tried yours yet. I've had yours. But I think if I were to go right now, I would go to Angelo's as well. It's a new discovery for me. It's awesome.
Good spot.
For me, growing up, I always went to Pat's and John's, so I would say that. Either one of those. Yeah.
I've never been to Del Rossi, so I plan on going there immediately. I really don't
You're gonna love it,
go
man.
to any other cheesesteak places, like he said. It's my life, you know. Like, I mean, I'm around it all the time, and and no one makes it better than I do. So.
Great answer.
Yeah. Why on earth would John Bucci go to a different cheesesteak spot? The most starstruck you've ever been by someone or something that happened at your shop?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Let's go. Right on.
Oh my God. He blotted out the sun. I never saw such another. He was absolutely huge. He shook my hand and my hand disappeared into his. It was unbelievable. I didn't know what to say. It was amazing.
Everybody comes to taste now. I guess because we're on the same block as the Four Seasons. So I've had Floyd Mayweather, Kevin Durant, Joker from the Denver Nuggets. Oh, Allen Iverson. There we go. There we go. Allen Iverson.
That would stop me in my tracks.
That would stop me.
I'm starstruck by any customer that comes out when it's 100 degrees and stands there, sits there, and eats a cheesesteak. I started a thing during the COVID on Facebook, Customer of the Day, and I told them last week when it was so hot, I said everyone is Customer of the Day today. So
I can't really top that answer, but I don't really get starstruck, but recently it was pretty cool to watch. We had this soccer star, Mario Balotelli. I don't really watch soccer, but my employees do, and some of them were crying. It was pretty cool to see. Yeah, it was. He walked in, and there was a bunch of soccer fans from around the world in the restaurant, and they were all just starstruck. It was just cool to see someone that famous that we don't know, but my employees and the customers knew. So it was pretty cool during the World Cup to see one of the biggest stars walk in. So, yeah.
That's so cool.
I would say mine would be fellow Cambodian influencer JL Jupiter coming in. I was really honored by that. But I would say also anybody that comes in and says, hey, I traveled and I searched for you, and I came here just for you.
All right, last couple of questions, and we're going to go to 1 to 3 word answers here. Ready? John, favorite thing about your job? Favorite thing about your job?
everything.
All right.
Baking bread.
Having some place to go to.
The food.
The people, meeting the people.
Least favorite thing, or should we say in business parlance, biggest opportunity for growth in your position?
Was that least not favorite?
Least favorite, but we're going to talk about it as your biggest opportunity for growth.
Cleaning up. I don't clean up well, so I can make someone else clean up.
Least favorite, just our building is really old, so just dealing with problems that come along with the building. So
I have a brand new building. Trust me, there's still problems.
Employee turnover.
Oh, man.
Yeah, employee turnover is horrible. But my biggest challenge is social media because I'm old. And so I'm just learning how to keep up with it, how to manage it, what to reply to, what not to reply to. It's exhausting. I could spend all day doing just that. I don't know how you guys do it. He puts something out and 1,000 people show up, and nothing's even there.
I hired a team.
Oh, man. Shout out to the Taste social media team. All right, Pats or Genos? It's a trick question, kind of. Yeah. Is everybody going to pass? Is anyone going to go to the mat on this one?
I don't know Gino. I know Frank really well, so I'll go
Frank well,
Pats.
too, so I'm going to go with Frank.
I can't say.
Yeah. It's more of a joke,
I used
actually.
to go to Geno's more.
Oh, y'all going to hate me for this one. I plead the fifth.
All right.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one, too.
Right on.
Oh, man.
All right, this is the last one for real. You're in charge of Philly's marketing efforts for a day. What would you choose to highlight besides, of course, the cheesesteak? That was some low-hanging fruit for
roast
John.
pork. The roast pork is really the authentic Italian. Is really the sandwich of the city. Like when Italians got together, they didn't have cheesesteaks like back in the 30s and 40s. Like my grandfather was one of the first caterers, and he would bring. It was like a block party, a wedding, and he would bring his roast pork, his meatballs, and his veal scallopi in. He'd set up his sternos, and they would have roast pork because roast pork was a celebratory meal. What do you eat on New Year's? Roast pork for good luck. So like, the roast pork.
Are you just talking food? Or?
It could be more general than that, yeah. Something Philadelphia-centric that doesn't get necessarily
You gotta give
thought
me a
of.
minute. Maybe come around.
We might even be out of time, even, but yeah.
I can't think of anything right now.
I was lucky.
I think for me, if it's food, I would probably do the Cambodian bolognese spaghetti that I created. That is on fire. It's
Let's
so
go.
good. So good.
It'll probably be between, which we already do, Art Museum Steps and Love Park.
Right on.
The people, we don't promote our people.
I agree.
The average Philadelphian is absolutely amazing. Can walk out on the street today and meet 100 amazing people. And we don't
Agreed.
promote it enough.
Agreed. 100%.
100%.
I'm friends with now a lot of fine dining chefs in the restaurant, and some of the best fine dining in the world is in Philly. Yeah, so.
True. Thank you guys so much. I mean, I will say, I hate to say it, but like, and I never say it on the internet, it goes a long way if you're interested in this conversation or more conversations. I have an Instagram channel and a YouTube channel, Cheesesteak City. It goes a long way if you follow it. Smash the like button. Tell your brain link to zap you every time I put a new video online, whatever. That goes a long way, super helpful. We have t-shirts coming out next week. Know Before You Go tour t-shirts. We've 9 episodes into this thing. We got a documentary series coming out. Fiscal sponsorship with the film office. So stay in touch. Sign up for our mailing list if you're into this kind of thing. We got stickers as you walk out. Please grab them. And now I guess I'm welcoming Ben Frank back up to the stage, or Kate. Oh, no.
Okay.
There we go. Ben Frank,
I have
everybody.
nothing else to add. This has been very delightful. I'm still hungry. But I want to thank Colin for helping coordinate the whole thing, all of the panel for joining us, all of you for coming today, and just want to give you time to network and meet each other and get up there and talk to the panel. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And just if you're curious, the closest good cheesesteak spot to here is Uncle Gus's at Reading Terminal Market. I'll be there in an hour or so. So Uncle Gus's Reading Terminal Market. Thank you, guys.